They know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brand that will change the world. And that's our job. It's to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish. And because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it. I don't know how to change, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up.
And now he's been promoted. His job, principal.
What's going on, everyone? This is Uche Njoku. Welcome to the Sneaker Principal Podcast. And this evening, I am coming to you with another story from my boarding school days in Nigeria. As you all know, on this podcast, I talk a lot about, actually, I don't talk a lot about, I always make a connection to education. And I'm trying to venture into different spaces as far as, considering the different realms of education that I find myself in. And actually, before I go any further, let me make sure I connect my audio to TikTok so you guys can hear me. Make sure I got this right. And I think it's working. So those of you who don't know, I was born in Nigeria and spent time in Nigeria, elementary school years into the beginning of secondary school. And for secondary school, I attended a military school in northern Nigeria called Nigerian Air Force Military School. And the thing about the school was that it was, at the time, I'm pretty sure till this day, it was considered one of the more elite schools. So you had kids coming from all the elite families, and I did not come from what we consider an elite families based on the standards of those times, and even today. I do come from a very old family that's been in the same part of Nigeria for a very, very long time. But that's besides the point. This school was, at the time, the top school in a military dictatorship. So it would be the military school. A lot of my classmates were all, parents were all like in the military in very high-ranking positions. And my first year there, my roommates were all, it's a mixture of different grade levels. But my two peers, there's three of us who were all first-year cadets, myself, Cyril, and this other kid named Tunde. And what was interesting was that Cyril's father was like the head of the Nigerian Air Force military police. So he was the provost marshal of Nigeria. And then Tunde came from a very wealthy father who was a businessman. And if you listen to my previous video or podcast about that military school, it was tough, it hardened me. It taught me a lot of things I took on till this day. But we're talking about first-year cadets. We're talking about roughly 6th graders, 7th graders. So this was the beginning of secondary school, which here would be considered middle and high school. And a lot of us struggled. A lot to make it through. And one person who struggled a lot was Tunde. Tunde, who was one of the 2 first-year cadets in my squad bay, my room, with other upperclassmen. He struggled. And I'll be honest with you, I paid for it. So did Cyril. We paid for Tunde's mistakes, and it was a tough first year. But like anyone who's been to the military, anyone who's attended military school, after a while, it turns into a kind of a game in which you just make fun of it, and you make the best of it. Tunde wasn't able to do that, and some of you might be wondering, so where's the scary story in this? So the scary story is the day that we found out that Tunde ran away. So this is what I'm going to tell you. So what happened was Tunde, one day we came back from actually I think we came back from the mess hall, came out, from eating. We got back, and I believe we all left at the same time. I just remember Tunde I just didn't see Tunde. Got back to the room, which was unusual, which wasn't unusual, but it was kind of unusual. We all kind of went back to the room at the same time. But, he might have been stopped by upperclassmen. But what ended up happening was we got back to the room, and we found out that Tunde was nowhere to be found. And the upperclassmen were asking us, where's Tunde? Where you must know where he is. And they were all coming at us, and we were all freaking out, especially me and Cyril. We're like the two youngest people in the room, and we're like, yo, we don't want any smoke having to do with Tunde, And the thing is this: whenever one of us created problems or got into trouble, we all paid for it. That's just the way it works. We all paid for it. And what ended up happening was, we're in a position where we're like, okay, is this kid? First of all, we didn't think he ran away. We just thought he just was not there. So it wasn't until after a while we realized, okay, this kid is missing. No one knows where he is. And somebody had reported out of the blue that they had seen him running towards how do I call it? It's like it wasn't really a forest. It was a wooded area towards the back of this campus with very tall grass. So somebody said they had seen him running in that direction. So it was so crazy that immediately they called the whole entire squadron or barracks or dorm room, the dorms. We were all called to attention. We were all brought outside. We were like, this kid has ran. We have to go find him. And they literally sent us in every direction from campus. So what ended up happening was myself and the first year, second year cadets from our squadron, the purple squadron, was sent towards this field. And this field was like kind of behind the farmland. I don't know if it's even still there anymore. We're talking about 30 years ago. So we're all walking towards that area because this is where they said they had seen Tunde. So we're walking in that direction. And you have to kind of picture this. It's after dinner. So it's still light outside, but it's slowly getting dark. So all we know is this, that we'll be given orders by the upperclassmen. We have to go find this kid. And of course, it's serious because we're talking about a space, I explained this before, where the cadets ran the campus for the most part. They doled out the punishments, they took care of everything. So I can only imagine this cadets thinking, if we don't find this kid, we're all in trouble. From the actual soldiers who were in charge of the campus, the officers and the non-commissioned officers. So we're all being sent to different locations. We dispersed all throughout the campus, and it's a huge campus. And my group is sent towards the tall grass, heading towards the wooded area. And as you can imagine, if somebody sends you into tall grass here in America, in the Midwest, wherever, you're going to be kind of skeptical because you're thinking about all kinds of critters are going to be out there. Well, this is not America. This is Africa. So you're being sent into the tall grass. You have no idea what's out there, from snakes to just all kinds of wildlife, right? Even though I had never really seen any crazy wildlife, but still, it's tall grass, wooded area, and you're in Africa. But we were sent in that direction, and I'll be honest with you, we went there because we were more afraid of the upperclassmen than we were of any kind of animal that could be in those tall grass. So I just remember we were walking, and I remember Cyril's with me, who's the other first year cadet who's in my room. A bunch of us were just walking, and we were upset. We were like, yo, if we find this kid, we're gonna beat him up, we're gonna hurt him, because look at what he's making us go through. We're all going through the same thing. He's not special. Why does he have to put us through all this? So this is all the stuff that we're thinking ourselves. We're saying to each other as we're walking. At this time, it's getting dark. The sun is starting to set, and the sky is kind of reddish. And you're like, okay, we know in a little bit it's going to be completely dark. But this is not America. This is not street lights. This is sometimes there's power. Sometimes there isn't any power. We're talking about Nigeria in the 80s. So we're walking, and now we're in the grass, in the grasslands. We're walking, and we're looking, and we're talking. We're now yelling out his name, Tunde. We're screaming, Tunde, Tunde, where are you, Tunde? And we're screaming, looking for this kid. And we're walking, We're walking. All of a sudden somebody says, look at him, look at him, look at him, look at him, he's there. And I swear to you, somebody said they saw him running through the grass, right? And then I'm like, where? And then somebody said, no, look at him, right there. He ran that way. So three people were saying they were seeing him all at the same time. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? But I don't see him. But then all of a sudden, I look up, and right in front of me, I see the white issued tees that we had, and he's running. And I see that, actually, it's not, I just see somebody running, and he's dark skinned, and he looks like Tunde. So I'm like, I see him, and I point in the direction, and we all start bucking it towards, as a matter of fact, people are behind me. I'm running so fast. I'm like, I'm going to catch this kid. I'm going to bring him back to campus, and I'm going to get the reward of no punishment. That's the thing, the reward of no punishment. And I'm running. Through the tall grass. And all of a sudden, I'm running, and I'm like, okay, I don't see him anymore. But now we're in the thick of the tall grass, and there is all these trees around us. And now it's getting really hard because now it's getting dark. And I'm like, okay, we're here in these woods. And when they sent us out, they didn't send us out with lanterns or flashlights because it was still light outside. Now it's dark. So now I'm walking, and all I care about is making sure that I see somebody that I know near me. Okay, so we're all up maybe about 3 or 4 feet apart, and we're all creeping through the tall grass. And we're looking for every sound. Then somebody said, I see him. And you see this thing, you see this white shirt running through the grass, running towards from the right to left. And then again, from the left side, it's like, I see him, and you see something running across us, in the distance, maybe about 50 yards through the tall grass, running in the opposite direction. And my brain is saying, how is it possible? Why, if this is Tunde, why is he running back and forth? Then all of a sudden, I personally see 2 white shirts running through the tall grass. I actually see one running from right to left. Then as I'm following it, trying to see what's going on here, I see another shirt across. I see someone else that crosses him in the opposite direction. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then it dawns on me, we're all wearing white shirts. We're looking for Tunde, and I'm assuming, I totally forgot there's other people out there looking for this kid. So everybody with me is all wearing white t-shirts. So the whole time we're thinking it was Tunde running through that, I'm realizing people are running across. And then I start to realize that I'm hearing voices of people saying, I see him. And I stop to look, and I see people running in different directions, saying they see something. And I'm like, wait a minute. How can they all see him and be chasing him in different directions? And I'm standing there very, very confused. Like, what's going on here? And mind you, I think I was like 10 or 11, my 10-year-old brain was just like not understanding what was going on. And so we all started like running towards where the commotion is going. Again, ignorant children, right? We're running in that direction. And all of a sudden, by the time we get there, people are dispersed. They're running away from that area. They're just running in different directions. And of course, we don't even know what's going on, why they're running away from where they were. I remind you, we're running in the direction of all these people, all these other cadets. So we turn on bucket, and we're running. And at this point in time, it's dark. I don't even know what direction. I might be running in circles for all I know. All I know is I'm running. I'm running in all these different directions, trying to figure out what's going on. And at some point in time, I trip in the tall grass. I'm going to say it again. This is not America. This is not the Midwest. This is Africa. I fall into all tall grass. It's nighttime, and all I can think is snakes or some kind of animal's going to get me. But even more scary was the fact that there could be some kind of supernatural being out there. Again, this is Africa. We believe in the supernatural. All kinds of spirits and demonic presence. Like, I was freaking out because it hit me. I'm in the middle of the woods, tall grass. I can't even see my feet. And we're looking for a kid who ran away. And for all we know, he's in the tall grass hiding from us. but people are chasing something in different directions. And so mind you, I fall into the grass. I'm laying there, and I'm breathing hard, and I get up, and there's a tree next to me. So I get up, and I kind of like standing to the tree, my back to the tree, and I'm kind of trying to figure out where my bearings are, and I realize I'm alone. Everybody's running. So the tree's to my back. So I'm standing there holding on to, like, with the tree behind me. I'm breathing hard, looking back, like, trying to figure out where everyone is gone. And I can hear people in the distance. So I figured if I can figure out my bearings and follow where the noise is, I run towards the noise. So all of a sudden, the tree's behind me, and I turn around towards the tree to see what's behind the tree. And I swear to you, what I saw, I peed on myself. I won't even lie to you. I didn't pee a lot, but I peed. I turned towards the tree so I could see behind the tree, but when I turned towards the tree, what I saw was a face. I swear to you, there was a face in the tree. Eyes open, full face, staring at me. And I could feel the life just kind of drain out of me. I was so scared. And I wanted to scream. I couldn't scream. I was like, my brain couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. It was a tree with a face looking at me. And I can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, all built into the bark of the tree. And the eyes were glassy, and it looked like a human being's face looking at me. It was just staring at me. And when it blinked, I turned around and I ran. I didn't care where I was running. For all I cared, I was running towards the cliff. I was going to run off that cliff. I didn't care. I was running. And I was running. I was crying. I was 10, 11 years old, and I was just running. I had never seen anything like that. I'd seen some things, but I had never seen anything like that. And I'm running, and I just know I'm just running because in my mind, whatever that thing was behind me and coming after me. So I'm running, and somehow, somewhere, I make it out of the tall grass, and I'm on the parade ground. And I just keep on running around the parade ground back towards my squadron. And the whole time I'm running, there's no one around me. And I'm just running. And by the time I get back to the squadron or the barracks, I see like all the cadets were there. And they're all looking at me like, where have you been? And I'm like, what do you mean, where have I been? And mind you, in my mind, this whole entire thing that transpired couldn't have been more than like 5 to 10 minutes long. And they were like, we've been looking for you. Where have you been? I'm like, what do you mean you've been looking for me? I'm like, I just saw you guys. You guys left me. And they were like, no, you've been gone for like an hour. And I was like, what are you? And listen, again, mind you, I'm 10, 11 years old. My brain is on fire and my head is burning. Like, what's going on here? And I'm like, looking like, what? And then all of a sudden over here, oh, we found him. He was at the train station. I'm like, found who? I was train station. Tunde was never even in that grassy wooded area. He did run away, but somehow he made it off campus through the front gate, got himself in a cab, and made it to his train station where he was going to buy a train ticket and book it back home to where his family's from. So I'm like, okay, we're in the woods. What the heck did we see? Well, what were we? What did I see? What were we chasing? And again, it's one of those very, just one of those things you just can't explain, but something that's very, very African, at least from my upbringing. I hear stories about, evil forests and mystical places and things you shouldn't be doing and not being out in the dark by yourself. And it was one of those times where I was like, yeah, me in outside spaces at nighttime in the wilderness by myself, no bueno. And again, this is a story of being in boarding school and having to deal with all the craziness of being in boarding school and then having my roommate run away and us being sent to go find him. And instead of finding him, I found something very, very supernatural, something very, very scary to me. And that's my story. I think that was 1987, 1988. And I'll never forget that moment that I saw a human face in a tree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time in this conversation, this storytelling time. How does this connect to education? I'll tell you this. Maybe there's no real connection, but however, I know that it's very important. I don't know how to make it. There is no connection. It was just some scary stuff that I went through in military school, and but I'll tell you this. Some people ask me all the time, "Would you send your kid to boarding school?" And my answer is yes and no. It depends. Depends on the school, where the school is, and for what purpose. And the other thing too would be about choice. I wouldn't force that on my kid. Because I know that for me, it wasn't my first choice. It was kind of forced on me. It was forced on me because military school was something very respected. Boarding school was something very respected in the time I was growing up in Nigeria, and it was seen as being elite. You were seen as being special if you went to the right schools, and I did. I did go to the right school, but however, it wasn't right enough for me to stay. I did not stay in that school to graduate. There was a whole lot of other traumatic things that happened in that space, in that school. And I was just like, as soon as I got the chance to leave, I did leave. And I came here in America with my family. But at the same time, I'll tell you this. I don't regret a single moment of being at that school because I can say without a doubt in my mind, it had a pivotal effect on my life. And it made me much braver than I should be. And I made me so much less skeptical about spiritual and supernatural things. I think just growing up in Nigeria, growing up in Africa, did that for me. But nonetheless, that's the story. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. And again, this is Uche Chukwu Njoku, Sneaker Principal Podcast. Thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing night, and I'll see you guys soon. And yes, please subscribe, like, follow, and till next time.
And now he's been promoted. His job, principal.